And I invite your comments and questions. Looks like there are a couple in there now, huh, Catherine?
There's a question.
Okay. What is it?
Regarding apple cider vinegar.
Apple cider vinegar. What's the question?
I forgot to write John's answers before. Do I drink some? What time of day or with food? Can I do so by adding it to a dressing or putting it in cooked food?
Great question. Apple cider vinegar is so versatile, has so many uses. It seems for years, it's like I just kind of blew it off. I knew that apple cider vinegar had a lot of beneficial qualities, but there were so many good things that were attributed to it. I kind of, took it with a grain of salt, like, yeah, how could it be that good? Well, it's actually better than I thought. And so apple cider vinegar has been used for a very, very long time for health. And what I used to use apple cider vinegar for primarily is for my anemic patients, the ones that had low iron levels and or low B12 levels. So microcytic, meaning small cell, or macrocytic, meaning large cell anemias, because the small cell is an iron deficiency. And if you don't have enough stomach acid, you can't absorb iron properly. And macrocytic is generally a B12 deficiency. And if you don't have a very acidic stomach, you can't absorb B12. So either way, you're in trouble. And it's one of the reasons a lot of my vegetarian patients, and I'm not against being a vegetarian. I was vegetarian for 20 years and vegan most of that time. But I do have a problem with that diet in children. If we have children that are vegan or vegetarian and they're picky eaters, they need to have blood tests done quite regularly, or they need to just automatically get some form of supplementation for iron and B12, because particularly in growing children, deficiencies in either of those can really cause growth problems, cause neurological problems, it can cause brain problems, etc. So you want to be really careful. So the reason I was using apple cider vinegar is I would have people either drink it or marinate their meat in it if they were having meat, or use it as a salad dressing, etc. Anything to get apple cider into your gut, because that increase in acidity from the vinegar will increase the absorption of iron and vitamin B12. And so it was very, very powerful for that. Now, the danger of taking apple cider vinegar is in people whose iron levels are too high, and that because iron levels that are too high can lead to excessive oxidation and cause more cardiovascular problems. So in people that have high iron levels, I do not want them to do apple cider vinegar before a meal that has a lot of iron in it. And in those people, I still want them to do apple cider vinegar, but I want them to do it before a high carbohydrate meal. Now, one of the benefits of apple cider vinegar taken before a meal is that it blocks a particular enzyme that causes the breakdown of starches to simple sugars. And so by blocking that, there is less sugar released into the bloodstream, and it will lower postprandial or after meal blood sugars by 20 to 40 points, which is very, very substantial. And so this can make a huge difference. So when to take it? If you're doing it to acidify your stomach for absorption, you should do it very close to your meal, because you want that acidity there in the stomach. If you're doing it to block carbohydrate absorption, same thing. Use it very close to your meal so that it's in your gut to block breakdown of the starches into simpler sugars. If you're doing it for any of the other dozen reasons you can do apple cider vinegar for positive results, and I'm not going to go into all of those right now. Maybe I'll do a whole show on that at some point, but then you can take it anytime. Take it between meals, etc. And so apple cider vinegar generally just before your meal. Or if you're using it to absorb more iron and B12, you want to do a marinade. If you're going to have, if you're going to have a steak or chicken or whatever, do a marinade so that the meat gets soaked in that. So you're going to get better absorption of the iron and the B12. So great question.